Hi, everyone. Welcome to Sponsored Programs and Your Career. We are here today, three of us presenting. I'm Roxanne Fenton. I'm the Associate Director from Creative Careers. And then we have Holly.
Hi, everybody. I'm Holly. I'm a manager of professional programs with Creative Careers and Global Programs. It's nice to see you.
And Jamie.
Yeah, I'm Jamie Kim. I'm also manager in professional programs. I work very closely with Roxanne and Holly in creative careers and global programs.
All right, take it away, Holly.
All right. So thank you so much for being here. We're also recording this. So aside from our two, I'll call you our VIP guests who are watching it live, we'll also put this up as a resource on YouTube, Roxanne?
Yeah, on YouTube.
On YouTube. So people can look at it at their convenience. So basically, we're going to talk all about sponsored programs, and it's okay if you know absolutely nothing about sponsored programs. We'll give you a good overview, and then we'll get into the weeds, as they say, but not too much about how it works, the different types of programs that we offer, and most importantly, how sponsored programs can help you on your career path. Um, so I'll just get going. Jamie's going to jump in at a certain point. Roxanne's going to jump in. So I'm going to start by maybe stating the obvious, but before I get into this brief couple of paragraphs here, what we are, who we are, is pretty much embedded in our name. So we offer a few programs that are sponsored by industry partners. And what that basically means, I mean, to put it very kind of bluntly and plainly, some industry partners that we've connected with, oftentimes they are Art Center alum. They come in and they sponsor, in other words, pay for a program that our students can take part in and that we manage. So these opportunities allow you to kind of have one foot in education on the Art Center side and another foot on the industry side. So you get the best of both worlds. And our programs kind of marry the two. So these are opportunities that allow you to get hands-on professional experience without ever leaving the classroom. As I said, we partner with these brands, and they are oftentimes very big name brands that you experience on a daily basis. Some are lesser known. And we offer programs kind of across the spectrum, the industry spectrum. So it doesn't matter what your emphasis is academically, what your major is, there is something for you that is offered within sponsored programs. So within that kind of framework, we create unique experiences that allow students to develop career enhancing skills, which we will talk about more and break down for you. Network with top designers and tackle real world design briefs. So this is kind of very broadly our ecosystem. This is where sponsored programs fits within our larger department. Our department, which is a newly kind of created or newly reorganized department, it's called Creative Careers and Global Programs, and it has three main arms. One is Creative Careers, which you may know previously as Career and Professional Development, or CPD. And Creative Careers provides basically advisement services at every level, one-on-one advising meetings, classroom-based advising, all kinds of workshops, programs, pop-ups, anything you need to prepare you for your the continuation of your design experience at Art Center and beyond, Creative Careers has a program to help you do that. Resumes, portfolios, you name it, they will help you. Global Programs is another arm of our department, and they manage all the programs that happen outside of Art Center and globally. So we partner with universities and other educational institutions around the world. We have an ongoing program in Berlin where you can study abroad. So they provide the infrastructure and the support to help students take their educational path literally around the world. And then there's us, sponsored programs. And I didn't put anything here because we're going to get into it. So sponsored programs fall into three main categories. You may have heard some of these kind of phrases or buzzwords or seen them on posters. So we're going to break down each one and really explain what they are. And then once you have a good kind of understanding of what these programs are, Roxanne is going to talk you through how they can help you in your career path. So the first one is a sponsored studio, and Jamie is going to talk us through that one.
So sponsored studios are probably our biggest programs that we offer, or some of the most visible ones. But basically, it's a 14-week course taught by faculty from Art Center that have relevant experience. It's a 3-credit class where the students that are selected work on real-world briefs from the sponsor. And so the brief is something that is thought of in advance, worked on with the faculty and the chairs, and then with our department as well. And so we come up with a brief. Now it's slightly flexible. Sometimes they're more solid, but whatever the case is, a brief comes in and it's presented before, and that is how we select the faculty and then select the students. And we'll get into that a little bit more. Basically, sponsored studios are open for more advanced students, term 5 and above, including graduate students. And typically, they're usually transdisciplinary studios. We want to invite all students from all departments, term 5 and above, to apply, and then they get selected to work on a team. So you have this great opportunity to work with students from other departments. And that is what we call a TDS. So it is transdisciplinary. Sponsors tend to come either in person or virtually to meet with the student group at least 4 times during the semester. So it's, or not the semester, it's the term. It is the kickoff, which is week 1 for the first week of class. They come once. They come for an R&D, research and development, which is typically week 4. So it's a lot like the classes you're already doing. There's a midterm, usually week 7 or 8, and then a final during week 14. So this is a great opportunity for the students to talk directly with people from Google, from Adobe, Apple, and they give you feedback directly on your team projects. And so you see their faces, they see your work, they see your names. So this is the networking opportunity that is so valuable. We typically open applications during week 9, and all the students that are interested, we communicate it. You submit your portfolio. There may be some questions on why are you interested in the sponsored studio? What will you gain? What experiences do you have that make you a great candidate for this? Department chairs weigh in, the faculty weigh in. We ask professors, and then depending on how competitive the project is, we may have more criteria, but typically that's what we ask for. And then you have to have a really great portfolio ready. And that's why we end up asking students that are a little bit more advanced in term 5 to apply. There's also a really nice stipend to help offset the costs of the class that will go towards the end deliverable. And that is something that you talk to the faculty and the class with at the beginning of the course. And then oftentimes, the sponsors are very interested in the intellectual property that you and your team creates from this class. And I have worked on a sponsored studio where the sponsor buys the entire class's IP. So that has happened, or they may pick one team to in which they purchase the IP, or sometimes they buy certain portions of it. So in any case, all those things are wonderful and great things to add to your resume. I mean, imagine saying that you sold your intellectual property on a group project to this amazing company, New Balance, Greenies, and you have that as a student on your resume. So it's pretty fabulous. If that happens, and it's pretty common, we help you, our department will help you with all the legal paperwork and the agreements and kind of walk you through that. So the great part of Sponsored Studio is that you have faculty and the sponsored programs department support along the way.
And just to chime in on that and to maybe state the obvious that you already know about your own work, but you as students own your own intellectual property. That anything that you create at Art Center, you own. Art Center doesn't own it. Now there is kind of an exception to that I'm going to get to in the next slide, but it doesn't dispute the fact that you own your IP. And that's not always the case at educational institutions, but that is the case at Art Center and something that we feel very strongly about and advocate for and are proud of. Okay, so I will skip to the next slide and the next kind of program that we're going to discuss, which is a design storm. So this is very much also a sponsored program. An industry partner comes in, says we want to do this project. It's different in that it's a 3-day intensive. So it doesn't run over the course of the full term like a sponsored studio. It's considered extracurricular. So it's in addition to your course load and your credit load that you're already taking. A similarity though is that you're still engaging very closely with the designers from the sponsor. And in some ways, you're engaging even more directly because they are, for the most part, physically there. They may not be there 24/7 for 3 days straight, but they are very much a presence there, or at least part of their team is. They're engaging at every stage in the process. It's kind of like, it's like kind of the intense experience and run up to delivering a final, except it's all happening in 3 days. You get the brief, you do R&D, like, the first day you're kind of doing research and development. Second day, you're essentially presenting your midterm. And then on the third day, you're presenting your final. So it's just like this collapsed, intense, very energetic, very dynamic process. And, students react differently to that. Some really, really thrive in that environment. And people like students feel like a bond very quickly with their fellow students. And it's just a really like adrenaline kind of fueled, very intense but fun vibe. Applications open about 4 to 6 weeks before the project starts. And like a sponsored studio, the selection is competitive. It counts because it's extracurricular and because you are expected to be there for 3 days straight. I mean, 3 days on the calendar, not 24 hours straight, but it counts as an excused absence for any class. So you'll automatically get excused from any class that you are missing because of your participation in the Design Storm. It's also a TDS. So regardless of the brief or the company, all majors are encouraged to apply, and you work in teams with other students who are coming with a different skill set, different area of expertise, different major, different background. And that's part of the educational experience that we're trying to encourage. This one is different than a sponsored studio in that the sponsors are automatically acquiring all the intellectual property up front. So it's as part of their agreement to sponsor the program, they are saying, we are going to sponsor this program, and we are just upfront buying all the ideas. So that's kind of an embedded thing that's part of this program that is different from a sponsored studio. So therefore, instead of a stipend to cover the cost of deliverables, you're getting an IP payment at the top, and that's a given. Okay, moving on to a design flash, which is more similar to a Design Storm than to a sponsored studio. This is a smaller group of students. We should say with the sponsored studio, our target is 14 to 16 students in a studio class. Same with a Design Storm. But with a Design Flash, it's a smaller, more intimate group of about 4 to 6 students. The similarity is that you're also working on a sponsor brief. The time period is about 2 to 3 weeks. And it's also an application process that starts about 4 to 6 weeks prior to the start of the program. And like a Design Storm, the sponsor has agreed to purchase all the IP up front. So that's part of their agreement, and that's also a given for this type of program. The schedule for this type of program is a little looser. There are touch points. There's a kickoff meeting where the brief is presented, but it's all a little more fluid, and it can either be in person or remote or some kind of hybrid version of both. And the schedule is kind of determined by the faculty team and the students as they go. With other program types, again, you're all leading up to presenting your final work to the sponsor at the conclusion of the program. I've done one of these, and it happened to be, the sponsor was Kia in partnership with Rebel Rally, which is a really cool all-female navigation race that's out in the desert. And the brief for that was to design the car wrap for one of the teams participating in this car race. And it was just really exciting. So now that you know kind of the broad strokes of all the different programs, hopefully you have a firmer grasp on what they are. Roxanne is going to talk you through how any one of them can really help you in developing your career path.
Okay. So first, as we've been talking about, you develop a network, and this network kind of goes in 2 directions. One, it is the other students that you work with on your team and in the class. And since these are transdisciplinary, you get to know students from around the college. And I know groups of alumni who are still great friends, 5 and longer years out from Art Center, who all met during a transdisciplinary studio. So that network is really important, the students that you work with, the faculty that you work with, but then also you get to get known with the sponsors, and they see your name and they see your work. And some sponsors are really generous with their time and their contact information. Other sponsors are more protective of their time and their contact information. But nevertheless, you are getting to network and interact with people in industry. In the process, you are building a really great portfolio piece. And while you can't use typically the Design Storm and the Design Flash work in your portfolio, you can almost always use the sponsored studio work in your portfolio. And what doesn't go in your portfolio can go on your resume. That, you know, you were part of a class that sold IP to Adobe, for example. So, and you're going to build skills, you're going to get feedback. That's further down the list, but I'll talk about it now. A lot of times the sponsors bring their culture of feedback from their company with them to the project. And so you get a little peek into what it's like to get feedback in industry, in the professional world. You get a little peek into the inner workings of some of the companies on that. So that's different than, you know, feedback for your faculty is really all about improving you and your fundamental design skills. But when the company's giving feedback, they're thinking about other factors. Is this marketable? Does this fit with our brand? Is this an idea that we could develop? Those sorts of things. So you're getting slightly different focus in your feedback. You get to work in teams, which is really common in some departments and less common in other departments. And so that's a really great real world simulation of getting to work with other people, having to navigate differences of opinion, get to practice what it's like to collaborate and all of those things as well. And then instead of school, where again, like I said, the focus is on you as a designer, you get to learn about some of the business aspects. A lot of business research goes into the R&D process, the research and development process, but you also get to see things that are really common, like confidentiality agreements, what you can and can't share about the project. You're asked to sign a non-disclosure agreement that you won't talk about the details of the brief and the project outside of the class. That's really great practice for the real world and shows that you have experience with that. You get to see what it's like to be part of a professional team and learn how to, you know, learn how to be yourself, but in a professional setting, because it is, when you're with the sponsors, it is a professional setting. You present a lot. You present at R&D, you present at midterm, you present at final, and you're presenting again, not to just your faculty, but to the industry sponsors. And so you get to practice another real world skill of making the case, making the pitch for your design ideas and your team's design ideas. And then, although it's not a guarantee, we definitely know students who have gotten internships or job opportunities through the network, through the exposure that they got in a sponsored program. So it's a lot of real world skills and it's a lot of real world exposure.
Okay, this is just kind of a sampling of some of the partnerships that we've had over the years. You can see these are very widely known and recognized brands. Certainly, I mean, it goes well beyond this circle, but this is just again, just a sampling of the diversity of brands that we've worked with. You'll see Myers Manx on there, where we have already confirmed that we're doing another sponsored program with them in the summer term. So that's on the horizon. They're a really cool dune buggy company. And so that should be a really fun one. But you can see a lot of footwear brands, athletic wear, restaurants, furniture brands, certainly a lot of tech companies. Most of these, I think we've done repeat sponsored programs with. So a lot of happy customers returning to see what the new wave of Art Center students can offer. Actually, that picture that I included there, that's from the Kia design flash that I was talking about from last summer. Whoops, I skipped one. Skipped a few, actually. All right. So these are just a few points about representing your work that's created in a sponsored program. We won't get too into the nitty-gritty here, but going back to what Roxanne was talking about, the business side of design, this is another kind of educational experience with regards to that. Companies are sharing a lot of proprietary information with students to ensure their success in their kind of path to creating designs for the project. And it's really important. And the paperwork that you sign at the top of at the beginning of the term reflects this. It's important to keep all of that proprietary information private. You're not allowed to share it outside of the class or in any of your representation of your work or your experience following the class. We as a department will give you guidelines on how best to do this, what you can and cannot say, what you can and cannot show. So we will help you and partner with you in making sure you're not misstepping at any part of the way. And it's all laid out for you. And again, we are here to help you if you have any questions. One really important thing to remember is that this is first and foremost an educational experience. So even though the sponsor is coming in and bringing this project to the college, you are still an Art Center student. You are not an employee of this company. And it's important that you represent your involvement accordingly in anything you write, in your portfolio, website, verbally, in an interview. You didn't work for them. You were not employed by them. You were an Art Center student involved in a sponsored program sponsored by X, Y, and Z. I don't know why it keeps skipping. So this is the sponsored programs team. Amanda Webb is the Associate Provost of Creative Careers and Global Programs. So she's at the head of our larger department. Jamie, who you've met, is Manager of Professional Programs, as am I. We're sort of counterparts. So what that practically means is that anytime there's a sponsored program, we kind of divide and conquer. So I'll say it's a sponsored studio. I will take that sponsored studio. This term, I'm doing one with New Balance, and I will manage all the logistics, coordination, communication, everything involved in that program. And Jamie does the same for her projects. Oh my gosh. I think my arrow is going too far to the right. And this is Creative Careers. Again, we're all part of the same department, CCGP, but this is the Creative Careers specific group. And Roxanne can talk you through all these lovely people.
So as we mentioned at the beginning, Jamie gave you a pretty good overview of who we are. Our two career advisors are along on the right side of the screen. That's who you can meet one-on-one with if you want to work on anything related to your internship search, your job search, building your network, all of those kind of things. And then the rest of us do a variety of things in the office. Nicole is kind of the point of first contact. So if you call or email with our office, you'll probably talk to Nicole. And then the rest of us do a lot of behind the scenes work and supporting work and organization and leadership. But we are the team that is here to help you with everything related to your creative career.
So these are all the details on how to find us and communicate with us. We share an Instagram now, and there's the address for that. The partnerships email is a great go-to for any general questions you have about, it could be a specific program that you want to learn more about. How do I apply? What's the status of my application? Do you think I'm a right fit for this? Any questions, you can direct it to this this email address, and I guarantee you, we really do read all of these and respond to all of them. Creative Careers has a very fantastic in-person presence here on Hillside, room 287. These are the office hours. They take a very specific lunch break, apparently, from 12 to 1, very on point there lunch-wise, and all their contact information. And if you're really fancy, here's the QR code. I hope it works. And also, just to keep things spicy, just so you don't rest on your laurels, we are moving. So all that information that I just gave you about the Hillside office, we as a bigger department we're all moving into the same space. It happens to be on South Campus at the 1111 building. So more details to come on that, and that's going to happen next month. So just a parting message. We say it all the time, but we're your partners in planning for your future. We care deeply about your futures. We're here for any questions you have. If we don't know the answer, we'll find it for you. If you have any concerns about your experiences or anything involving your future, we are here. We're your advocates. We want to help you. And we're just really fun, cool people. So come hang out with us. And that's it. So bye for now. We hope to see you in a sponsored program very soon.